Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Unitarian Universalist of Medfield. Welcome to all of you who are streaming in from home. We're so glad you're here with us this morning. We hope you all stay for social hour downstairs after the service. This congregation first gathered in 1651, settling here on this land that was and is still now the homeland of the Nipmuc Nation, who inhabited this area for thousands of years. Their land was taken by force, and their lives were oppressed by the European colonists who settled this town, this state, and this nation. Despite this atrocity, the Nipmuc descendants continue to live here today. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to name the wrongs committed against Indigenous people and to work to dismantle the systems of oppression that continue to harm Indigenous people today. Holding all of this in our hearts, we welcome you to this place. Here we search for truth and understanding. Here we celebrate life and we contemplate its mysteries. Here we share healing and wholeness. So whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever you believe, whomever you love, we welcome you to this congregation. Friends, come into this place with your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, the parts that are beaming with joy, the parts that are seeking the truth, the new, and all of the possibilities. Come into this place, open your hearts, lay down your burdens, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Come into this place with fellow travelers on the journey, some faces new, others familiar, and all welcoming you here to be here now in this moment. Come, let us worship together.
The chalice is a symbol of our faith. Like our faith, it is not magic, nor is it mysterious. We light it as a reminder of what we share as a community and of who each of us is called to be. When we feel lost in a chaotic world, may the light of our chalice show us our path. When we are afraid of the times we live in, may the light of our chalice give us courage. When we despair at the injustice and cruelty around us, may the light of our chalice recall us to a faithful hope. Our chalice is a symbol of our commitment to each other and to ourselves. We light it today as a gathered community that we may understand more completely and act more boldly and hope more fiercely.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our unison covenants. Today we'll be reciting lines 1, 2, and 7. Love is the foundation and spirit of our congregation, and we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity. As people of goodwill, we covenant with one another to serve the wider community with compassion, commitment, and integrity. Please remain standing for our opening hymn. I Know This Rose Will Open. It's number 396. Sounded beautiful. You may be seated. All right, well, now I'd invite forward Kate Chiavar to lead us in our Moment for All Ages. And any children here, why don't you come forward as well?
Hi, I'm Kate. I'll be doing the MFAA today. And today, I wanted to know if you knew about the Statue of Liberty. Do you guys know about the Statue of Liberty? Do you know where she is? Where is she? Where is she, Russa? What state she's in?
In New York.
She's in New York. Very good. She's in New York. This is a tough question. Do you know who gave her to us? Do you want to take a guess? No. Okay, so maybe someone in our audience knows who gave us the Statue of Liberty. France gave us the Statue of Liberty. That's right. So when we think of the Statue of Liberty, what are some things we think about Russa? For instance, she's very green. That's one of her qualities. Can you think of anything else she has or that she's wearing?
Like a cape.
She's wearing like a cape. That's good.
Yeah, she's holding it like chalice.
She's holding a torch like a chalice, sure. What is she wearing? Do you remember? Like a big long dress? And what was that?
A crown.
A crown. She's wearing a crown too. That's right. She is also wearing something on her feet. Do you know what she's wearing on her feet? Is she wearing roller skates? No. Is she wearing platform shoes? Ugg boots? No, she's wearing sandals on her feet. So we're going to pay attention to her feet for a second. Around her feet lay a bunch of broken chains. You can't see it in this picture. What do you think broken chains mean? No. Do you usually hold something with chains to keep it locked up? No, you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't, but someone might, right? And if they're broken, what does that mean? If they're locked up? If it's broken now, that may mean they're free, maybe? Let's see if this book will tell us, okay? It's a long book, so I have to do a lot of sticky notes. Okay. Do you know that the Statue of Liberty comes from France? This is true. This is a factual book. So the Statue of Liberty that everyone in New York saw being constructed started off brown. Did you know that? No? In fact, it was brown for about 35 years, and then it turned green in the 1920s and has been this color ever since. Perhaps you knew this. And you may have known that the book the statue is carrying, careful. Let's not hold on to that, okay? I promise to show you the pictures. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I love that. You may have known that the book the statue is carrying, the one in her left hand, features the date July 4th, 1776, on which the Declaration of Independence was signed. And you may know that the 7 spikes on her crown represent the 7 seas on earth and the 7 continents and the sun's rays. And you probably knew that the torch she carries is a symbol of enlightenment, lighting the path to liberty and freedom. But there is one thing you might not know, and that is the central point of this book, a point the author apologizes for taking so long to get to. The point is that if you have seen a picture of the Statue of Liberty, or many pictures of the Statue of Liberty, or even hundreds of pictures of the Statue of Liberty, you probably have not seen pictures of her feet. Let's see if I can do this. And even if you have seen pictures of her feet, you probably have not seen pictures of the back of her feet. In particular, her right foot. Which one's your right foot? Can you wiggle it? There you go, very nice. What do you notice when you see this picture? There's no chains here, you're right, not yet. They didn't put that in this illustration. It says a big shade. What do you think this might be? Her what? You think it might be her sandal? Let's see. There it is again. I think you're right, it might be her sandal. It's her big old foot. That's right. Is her foot standing still on the ground? Is it flat on the ground? No, her foot's kind of picked up a little bit, isn't it? That's right. She's going somewhere. The Statue of Liberty is on the move. Let's pause here and collect ourselves and think about this. Let's discuss this. Let's think about and discuss the fact that this is the largest sculpture in all the land and the most iconic symbol of the United States of America. Let's talk about the fact that this statue has welcomed millions of visitors and immigrants into the U.S. No one talks about the fact that she is walking. This 150-foot woman is on the go. There are certain things we know. We know that around her feet are chains. They are broken chains telling us that she has freed herself from bondage. We know that Bartholdi, the person who made her, wanted us to know this. He wanted us to see the chains, and people have always talked about the chains. But few people talk about the fact that she is so obviously mid-stride, about the fact that her entire right leg is in mid-stride. What does this mean? What does it mean that we often forget this right foot and this right leg? If she's picking up her foot like this, what does it mean?
She's walking.
She's walking. Here's an idea. Here's a theory. Here's a reminder. Those cute birds, huh?
They look like paper birds.
They do look like paper birds. I think all the illustrations look a little bit like paper.
Yes.
Yeah. If the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom, if the Statue of Liberty has welcomed millions of immigrants to the United States, then how could she stand still? Liberty and freedom from oppression are not things you get or grant by standing around like some kind of statue. No, these are things that require action, courage, and an unwillingness to rest. The Statue of Liberty was not built to welcome just immigrants from Italy on one day in 1886. She was built to welcome immigrants from Poland the next day Norwegians, and after that Glaswegians, the Cambodians, the Estonians, Somalis, Nepalis, Syrians, and Liberians. It never ends. It can never end. After all, the Statue of Liberty is an immigrant too, and this is why she's moving. This is why she's striding. In welcoming the poor, the tired, the struggling to breathe free, she is not content to wait. She must meet them in the sea. The end. So let's see, what did we learn today? Did you learn something new about the Statue of Liberty? What did you learn?
That she has chains on her feet and that she's moving.
She's moving forward, that's right. What do you think she's moving towards?
The ships.
The ships in the ocean.
Yeah.
Good guess. That's a great guess. Do you think maybe she's moving towards the future? Ooh, maybe the future, and all these people coming from different places too. She's going to meet them. Good job, Ressa. All right, thank you.
All right, let's sing the children out as they head out to religious exploration. join me now in a spirit of prayer and meditation. O Spirit of life, Spirit of love, now we pause in the stillness to rest for a moment, to quiet ourselves so that we can feel what stirs within us. Each breath drawing us closer to the pulse of life. And with each exhale, we make room for something new. May we find in this gathering the comfort of those who care. May we encounter patience along our growing edges and compassion in our most tender of spots. Here may we find the inspiration and encouragement we need to face our challenges and to nurture ourselves. And in the presence of suffering across the globe, may we redouble our efforts to practice kindness where we are. May our gestures of compassion and generosity seed possibility. And when life presses in and shifts us off balance, when frustration mounts, may the rhythm of our breath steady us and bring us back to a place of gratitude. Let's hold all of this into our hearts as we quiet ourselves for a time of silent meditation. Amen. This morning's reading comes from Leslie Jamieson. Empathy is a choice we make. Empathy isn't just something that happens to us, a meteor shower of synapses firing across the brain. It's also a choice we make to pay attention, to extend ourselves. It's made of exertion, that dowdier cousin of impulse. Sometimes we care for one another because we know we should or because it is asked for. But this doesn't make our caring hollow. The act of choosing simply means we've committed ourselves to a set of behaviors greater than the sum of our individual inclinations. This confession of effort chafes against the notion that empathy should always rise unbidden, that genuine means the same thing as unwilled, that intentionality is the enemy of love. But I believe in intention and I believe in work. I believe in waking up in the middle of the night and packing our bags and leaving our worst selves for our better ones. And with that, I'd invite forward the choir to share with us Dark of Winter. Wow, that was beautiful, wasn't it? Well, friends, today I would like to start with an essay written by Anne Lamont entitled, Why I Make Sam Go to Church. She writes, Sam's the only kid he knows who goes to church, who is made to go to church 2 or 3 times a month. He rarely wants to. Well, this is not exactly true. The truth is he never wants to. What young boy would rather be in church on the weekends than hanging out with friends? It doesn't help him to be reminded that once he's there, he does enjoy himself, that he gets to spend the time drawing in the little room outside the sanctuary, that he only actually has to sit still and listen during the short children's sermon. It doesn't help that I always pack some snacks, some Legos, all of his art supplies, and bring along any friend of his whom he can lure into our churchy web. It doesn't help that he genuinely cares for the people there. All that matters to him is that he alone among his colleagues is forced to spend Sunday morning in church. You might think, noting the bitterness, the resignation, that he was being made to sit through a 6-hour Latin Mass. Or you might wonder why I make this strapping, exuberant boy come with me most weeks. And if you were to ask, this is what I would say. I make him because I can. I outweigh him by nearly 75 pounds. But that's only part of it. The main reason is that I want to give him what I found in the world, which is to say, a path and a little light to see by. Most of the people I know who have what I want, which is to say, purpose, heart, balance, gratitude, and joy, are people with a deep sense of spirituality. They are people in community who pray or practice their faith, They're Buddhists, they're Jews, Christians, people banding together to work on themselves and for human rights. They follow a brighter light than the glimmer of their own candle. They're part of something beautiful. I saw something once from the Jewish Theological Seminary that said, quote, "A human life is like a single letter of the alphabet. It can be meaningless, or it can be part of a great meaning." Well, our funky little church is filled with people who are working for peace and for freedom, who are out there on the streets and inside praying, and they're home writing letters, and they are at the shelters with giant platters of food. When I was at the end of my rope, the people of St. Andrew tied a knot in it for me and helped me to hold on. The church became my home and the old meaning of home. And it's where, when you show up, they have to let you in. They let me in. They even said, "You come back now." Well, Sam was welcomed and prayed for at St. Andrew 7 months before he was even born. When I announced during worship that I was pregnant, people cheered. All these old people raised in Bible-thumping homes in the Deep South, they clapped. Even the women whose grown-up boys had been or were doing time in jail rejoiced for me. And then almost immediately they set about providing for us. They brought clothes, they brought me casseroles to keep in the freezer. They brought me assurance that this baby was going to be part of the family. And they began slipping me a little bit of money. Now, I remember the older black women live pretty close to the bone financially on small Social Security checks. But routinely, they sidled up to me and stuffed bills in my pocket, 10s and 20s. It was always done so stealthily that you might have thought that they were slipping me bindles of cocaine. One of the most consistent donors was a very old woman named Mary Williams, who is in her mid-80s now. So beautiful with her crushed hats and hallelujahs. She always brought me plastic baggies filled with dimes, noosed with little wire twists. I was usually filled with a sense of something like shame until I'd remember that wonderful line of Blake's, that we are here to learn to endure the beams of love. I would take a long, deep breath and force these words out of my strangulated throat. Thank you. Mary Williams always sits in the very back by the door. She's one of those unusually beautiful women, beautiful like a river. She has dark skin, a long, broad nose, sweet, full lips, and what the theologian Howard Thurman calls quiet eyes. She raised 5 children as a single mother, but one of her boys drowned when he was young. And she has the softness and generosity and toughness of someone who has endured great loss. Sam loves her, and she loves him. And she still brings us baggies filled with dimes, even though I'm doing much better now. She doesn't know that I no longer really need people to slip me money. But what's so dazzling to me, what's so painful and poignant, is that she doesn't bother with what I think she knows or doesn't know about my financial life. She just knows we need another bag of dimes. And that is why I make Sam go to church. Well, the Reverend Fred Muir claims that you can't be a Unitarian Universalist all by yourself. He says that even if you grew up as a UU, even if you used to belong to a UU church someplace, but you left because maybe you didn't agree with the decision made by the congregation or you didn't like the minister, even if you agree with our UU values, you can't be a Unitarian Universalist unless you are part of a UU community. He says this is so because the thing that makes us UU is that we are bound together through a covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. You know, many of us who come into Unitarian Universalism from other faith traditions have been raised in creedal faiths, in which The thing that binds a community together is a statement of shared belief in God or who Jesus was. You may have grown up saying the Apostles' Creed that begins, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and his Son, Jesus Christ, who was born of the Virgin Mary. But see, we are not a creedal faith. We don't have a statement of belief that we have to subscribe to in order to be Unitarian Universalist. Many have assumed that our UU values are a creed, that is our statement of belief. Our UU values state that we are all inherently worthy and have the right to flourish with dignity, that will promote justice and equity and compassion in human relations, that it's important to have a free search for truth and meaning, that will use the democratic process, that will respect the interdependent web of life. But this is not a statement of faith. It's not a creed. What it is really is our vision of how we are to be together in beloved community, a beloved community that we helped to create. This vision, however, is not uniquely ours. There are many people of faith who share this vision, who are also working to bring about a beloved community. There are many in other faith traditions who read through our UU principles and values who are able to say, yes, all of those things are important to me as well. Our values begin with this statement: we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote. And then it concludes with, grateful for the religious pluralism which enriches and ennobles our faith, we are inspired to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. As free congregations, we enter into this covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. It is this, the Reverend Fred Muir says, that makes us uniquely UU, that we have entered into a covenant with each other. As he says, whether it's an annual canvas or a capital fund drive, teaching religious education or creating adult enrichment, attending morning worship, mindfulness meditation, or an earth-centered ritual, landscaping the grounds, singing in the choir, or volunteering in the office, these and everything else we do are grounded in covenant and the voluntary promises and commitments we make to one another. It's covenant that makes us Unitarian Universalists. We are a covenantal faith. As glorious and appealing as the mission and vision are, these are not what we promise to commit to. What we promise and commit to is mutual trust and support. Our covenant is grounded in community, in being together. One radical implication of this is that it's impossible to be a Unitarian Universalist alone. Well, James Luther Adams, one of the greatest UU theologians of the 20th century, reminded us that we cannot elude the fact that the condition of being human is that we are made for community. We belong to a cosmos that is social, he said. Anne Lamott said something similar when she told us about something she'd seen once from the Jewish Theological Seminary that said, a human life is like a single letter of the alphabet. It can be meaningless, or it can be part of great meaning. We are made for community. You know, I don't know if I agree with Fred Muir, who suggests that it's impossible to be a UU alone. But I do know that our experience of being Unitarian Universalist deepens, and it takes on greater meaning when we join together in community, when we join together in mutual trust and support, when we are truly able to be vulnerable together. So this is such a big part of what we are always striving to do here in this church. Find ways that we can be in real community. You know, those of us who've been around for a while know that we have our own Mary Williamses here, that we have our own Sams, people who love us in return, who know that when we need a baggie filled with dimes, noosed with little wires, and those of us who've been around for a while know that as we grow to know one another, as we open our lives and become vulnerable with one another, as we learn to trust and support one another, that our experience of community grows. When we stand during worship and share that we're pregnant and people cheer in response, when we light a candle for a parent who died or a brother who committed suicide, when we fix a meal for someone recovering from surgery, or when we're on the receiving end and learn to endure the beams of love. When we stand during candles of joy and sorrow and talk about the embarrassment of being between jobs and what a blow it is to our self-esteem. When we tell our stories in small groups or share our spiritual journeys or listen to one another's ideas with respect, we are weaving together the fabric of community. It takes time. It takes a willingness to risk opening up at least part of our lives to one another. It takes a willingness to be here, to be truly vulnerable, to actually show up. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, in her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, tells this story. She says, I once heard a story from an old African-American man in the Mid-South. He came out of an alley as I was sitting amidst the graffiti of the inner city park. Some people would call him crazy, for he spoke to anyone and no one. He shuffled along with one finger held out as though to test the wind's direction. He told me a story called One Stick, Two Stick. This is the way of old African kings, he whispered. Well, in the story, an old man is dying and calls his people to his side. He gives a short, sturdy stick to each of his many offspring, his wives and relatives. Break the stick, he instructs them. Well, with some effort, they all snap their sticks in half. This is how it is when a soul is alone, without anyone. They can be easily broken. The old man next gives each of his kin another stick and says, this is how I would like you to live after I pass. Put your sticks together in bundles of 2s and 3s. Now break these bundles in half. No one can break the sticks when there are 2 or 3 in a bundle. The old man smiles. We are strong when we stand with another soul. When we are with one another, we cannot be broken. Now, friends, these are perilous times in which we're living today. We're concerned about masked ICE agents violently rounding up our neighbors. We worry about mass shootings and whether we and our families will be safe. We're concerned about our futures and the futures of our children as the environmental crisis becomes more perilous. We're uneasy over the erosion of civil liberties, especially for those who fit a certain profile. Fear has been mounting, distrust growing, and as we watch the walls that keep us apart get higher and thicker. There's a Hasidic tale in which an old rabbi once asked his pupils how they could tell when the night had ended and when the day had begun. Could it be, asked one of the students, when you can see an animal in the distance and tell whether it's a sheep or a dog? No, answered the rabbi. Another asked, is it when you can look at a tree in the distance and tell whether it's a fig tree or a pear tree? No, answered the rabbi. Then when is it? The pupils demanded. It is when you can look on the face of any man or woman and see that it is your brother or sister. Because if you cannot see this, it is still night. We're living in a world in which it is still night. But here in this congregation, in this religious community bound together by covenant, we're able to look at one another and know that we are brothers and sisters. We gain strength as we stand together. More courage, perhaps, to face the coming of the new day. Less fear, perhaps. More compassion and love. Not only for each other, but for those in our larger community as well. Perhaps it's when people like us, people of faith, whether we're Baptists or Episcopalians or Buddhists or Jews or Muslims or Unitarian Universalists, when we gather together in community and learn to know each other as family and know that our neighbors are our family as well. Perhaps it is this that will help the night to end and for the new day to begin. So may it be. Amen. Well, now I'd invite forward Duncan Glover to introduce our offering.
It is an honor and a privilege to be Duncan Glover this morning. Duncan and I swapped. This is the time in our service where we tend the stewardship of sharing and caring for this community and our greater community. We share many things in this congregation, our talents, our vision, our treasures, and our money to support the work we do here, and even more importantly, sharing it with the wider community that prevents the night from keeping us away from each other. This morning, we're sharing with Dignity Matters, which is an organization, I think in Framingham or Natick, that does amazing work. It actually works to provide menstrual cycle products for girls, women, and transgender men who are either homeless or disadvantaged. And you wouldn't think that would be a problem in the world we live in here, but it truly, truly is. So this morning, whatever you can give, we gratefully receive, and we will be sharing half of it with Dignity Matters.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. It's number 34 in your gray hymnal. Friends, having found stillness, may we share peace. Having received connection, may we reach out to others. Having heard the call of our deepest self, may we live in greater alignment. Having returned to our center, may we expand the circle of love. Go in peace.
I'll now extinguish our chalice, but may its light and warmth stay in our hearts until we meet again. Here ends our worship. Let our service begin.